Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 1. In the left-hand side of the map, playing as Russia, we have Zackzorn in orange. And on the right side of the map, playing as the Brits, we have Nico in red. Let's go to the production tab. Both players about dead even in this Soviet versus Allies match. Zackzorn about a quarter of a second ahead. That's not going to make too much of a difference. And Mountain Ridge Redux, I believe, is the name of this map, with the two communications centers in mirror images of each other. Or rather, suppose that's not a mirror image. Anyway, a total of 4 oil derricks on this map, separated by a cliff face. Looks like Zackzorn is going to go for that communication center right off the bat. Nico with 31 actions per minute to Zackzorn's 16.8. Nico finding a stationary position with his riflemen, taking out 2 riflemen of Zackzorn. And both players appear to be going for the double ref build. Nico ahead about 1 second. And Zackzorn has some excellent line of sight now thanks to that communication center. Let's see if he can use it to his advantage. Zackzorn now behind in income by about 100 now, thanks to that capture by Nico of the first oil derrick of the game, soon to be the second oil derrick of the game. Nico also moving south to make sure that Zackzorn doesn't get a hold of the oil derricks to the south. Zackzorn with a sizable infantry force and a main MCV move out. Aggressive positioning. Nico about to come out with his war factory. Zackzorn with an idle production tab as far as building goes. He's sitting on a flame tower. And now he begins building another barracks. Zackzorn coming out with, Nico coming out with a ranger. Several spectators in this match. An infantry offensive from Zackzorn is going to be met with a harvester pull. Harvester is finding some crushes, but mostly just providing line of sight and completely distracting and routing the forces of Zackzorn as he tries to make his escape. That's not going to happen. That ranger is going to hunt them down. Nico trying to move on the static infantry position, reinforced by line of sight from that oil derrick. I don't think that's going to turn out well for them. They don't trade so well, but they take the position. Zackzorn captures an oil derrick from Nico. Nico moving on to capture his 3rd derrick of the game, still on only 2 derricks. 1 derrick about to be 2. Nico also on 5 harvesters. And also scouting out the enemy base and blocking the ore refinery. Taking out those troops one by one as they come out of the barracks. Nico now ahead by about 2,000 income. About to capture his 4th derrick of the game. Still only on 1 derrick. Zackzorn capturing 2 derricks. And out with his war factory producing a harvester. Zackzorn's troops moving southward. Zackzorn's communication center he captured, going down at some point. Fire from Nico. Zackzorn finding static position. Nico not trading well. His infantry forces being completely obliterated. Nico deploying a turret. Not the best choice against an infantry battalion. Rifleman only unable to destroy that turret, losing troop after troop after troop. Zackzorn just now starting production of his MCV at minute 6. Another 20 seconds on that. Both players fairly mobile with their MCV. Of course, Nico utilizing his expansion MCV. Zackzorn having uprooted his main MCV early in the game. Both players with decent field control, and Zackzorn with a Tesla coil covering that ore patch. Nico with a base push. He's got a pillbox ready. Deploys it defensively. Zackzorn now out with his first expansion MCV. Losing several troops to that war factory and calling a good game after 7 minutes and 24 seconds. Zackzorn putting up a decent fight, but moving out with that MCV early on and losing several harvesters to Nico's offensive. Eventually, I think he was down to only a few harvesters at the end of the game. Let's go to the Eco tab. Both players dead even in economy until about minute 2. Nico starts to pull ahead, falls behind, and then pulls ahead again, stays ahead for the rest of the game. And Zackzorn with much larger army all the way up until minute 3. But Nico just absolutely exploding out of the gate at minute 6 and taking over the map. Let's go on to game number 2.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 1. In the upper left-hand corner, we have Zackzorn playing as the French. And in the lower right-hand corner, we have Nico playing as the Germans. So let's go to the production tab. Nico about half a second ahead, quarter of a second ahead in production of his barracks. Now about a full second ahead in the production of his refinery. Still waiting on a few games from people. I think there's about 4 games left in the Round 1 series. I'll get started on Round 2 next week as soon as the replays are in. $18 games total per round. Each player faces each other twice. Excuse me, each player plays 2 games per round facing other players. Each player will eventually play every other player. Points are awarded for victories. No points are deducted for losses. Zackzorn going War Factory first. Nico going for double ref. Zackzorn with control of the center of the map. Zackzorn scouting out the enemy base with a double vetted rifleman. Nico with 2 scouts on the way to Zackzorn's base. Scouts at the base succumbing to rifle fire. And a taxi cab engineer. Zackzorn dropping off his engineer. Engineer about to walk right into dual riflemen. Succumbing to fire. That was very unfortunate. If that ranger had just followed through, could have very easily saved that engineer. Rip. Nico at 25.9 actions per minute. Zackzorn at 19.1 actions per minute. Zackzorn on 3 harvesters to Nico's 2. Nico evens the score with his 3rd refinery. Nico also transferring quickly to build a service depot. Looks like he might have the option of putting an MCV on the field first. Zackzorn again moving out with his main MCV. Not my favorite time to do so. Taxicab engineer from Nico, uncontested, about to capture the 2nd oil derrick of the game. And Zackzorn producing light tanks. Nico with a bit of a unique position on the map there. I think he's going to try to work his way over to the ore patch. Don't know why he just didn't move up further. Zackzorn ahead by about 800 income. Some ranger on ranger action. And Zackzorn's ranger escaping at about 10% health. Zackzorn using the line of sight of the ranger to nearly destroy Nico's ranger. Nico's MCV hits the field and going towards his secondary natural expansion. A light tank flank from Zackzorn. Probably going to do some eco harassment. And the first expansion out from Nico. Zackzorn still yet to put out a expansion refinery. He's sitting on one though. Sitting on that refinery for about 6 seconds. Giant brigade of riflemen against Nico's expansion refinery. Retreating, losing several riflemen in the process. Zackzorn, Nico out with his 2nd expansion. Zackzorn producing an expansion refinery with no eco slide. Oh, there's the eco slide. And a main base push from Nico, totally uncontested by Zackzorn. Zackzorn about to lose his main base barracks. Zackzorn about to lose his main base war factory. Sells it. Zackzorn hunting around the field for any expansion from Nico, not finding the expansion in the lower left-hand corner. Quick deployment of a pillbox takes out a rocket soldier and a rifleman. And Zackzorn counterattacks on Nico's main, met by a massive infantry force in line of sight from the barracks. Not trading well at all. Being totally routed and chased down by those medium tanks. Lots of riflemen or rocket shooters in the mix, though, taking out a medium tank. Zackzorn in full-on retreat. Both players on 7 harvesters. Nico with the only Derrick of the game. And some light tanks harassing the power plants of Nico. And good placement of a turret harassing the eco lines of Zackzorn. Nico with his 3rd expansion. And Nico with an attack on the eco lines on the right-hand side of the base, capping 2 harvesters in the process, bringing Zackzorn down to 6 harvesters, 0 Derricks. Nico over 10,000 income to Zackzorn's 6,800. Nico about to lose another harvester, takes out that turret with a bunch of rocket soldiers. Moving in to take out Nico's expansion MCV. He might get it. Killing Nico's expansion MCV, while at the same time Nico moves in with a flank attack. Sizable force after completely obliterating Zackzorn's main base. Nico at 51 actions per minute. Zackzorn at 21 actions per minute. And the tanks are leading the charge, with the rocket troopers finding the mark on the pillboxes, trading well. Nico sounding the retreat. Zackzorn cash starved at 4,600 to Nico's 9,000 income. Nico on 8 harvesters, Zackzorn on 5 harvesters. And Zackzorn coming out with a... maybe that was his main MCV, moving out and replacing it with his 2nd MCV build of the game. On radar tech, Nico trying to find a flank on the army position. Zackzorn knows what's up, though, rotating his army. Doing his best to protect his last remaining ore field. 2nd to last remaining ore field. Still on 6 harvesters to Nico's 9. And a very good hit and run maneuver by Nico. That harvester is going to get it. Harvester taking some fire, going down. And looks like Zackzorn's forces are going to be able to take out this attack by Nico, but Nico with another force supported by artillery moves in on Zackzorn's last remaining MCV. And the medium tanks chase it down, trading well in the process. And Zackzorn calls it quits at 11 minutes even. 392 to 278. Let's take a look at the eco graph. Both players dead even until minute 2 when Nico just starts to take over. Zackzorn with an income advantage from minute 3.5 until about 5.5 minutes. And then Zackzorn, through a series of attacks on Nico with a series of attacks on Zackzorn's eco lines, just whittles him down. So many expansions were placed and lost during this game. A very mobile and dynamic match. Let's go to the military graph. We see that Nico has an army advantage all the way up until minute 2 before Zackzorn has any real military presence whatsoever. Nico basically holding the advantage throughout the entire game, and the major battle event happening at 7.5 minutes. Both games going to Nico. Red Alert Gaming League, Season 9, Minions Round 1.
Battle control terminated.